You're in a meeting. Someone across the table yawns. Within seconds, you feel it rising in your own jaw. You try to fight it. You lose. Now 2 other people are yawning too. Nobody said a word. This happens so often you probably don't even notice it anymore. Spread, silently, instantly, into other people's bodies without a single word being spoken. So what is actually happening in your brain when that happens? The strange part is, yawning has nothing to do with being tired. That's the part almost everyone gets wrong. Fetuses yawn. A fetus has never been tired a day in its life. And it's already yawning. Fish yawn. Reptiles yawn. Birds yawn. Older than sleep schedules altogether. So if it's not about being tired, what is it actually for? One leading explanation comes from a psychologist named Andrew Gallup, who spent years studying yawning as a brain-cooling mechanism. His theory works like this, nudging its temperature back down. Gallup tested this in a strange but clever way. They didn't need the reset. He also found that people yawn more when the outside temperature is close to body temperature. Yawning has less work to do. That explains why you yawn alone. It doesn't explain why watching someone else yawn makes you yawn too. And that's where this gets genuinely strange. Long before anyone studied bonobos, or wolves, a researcher named Robert Provini ran one of the simplest and strangest experiments in psychology. No sound, no instructions to react. Nearly half the people watching the yawning video yawned themselves within minutes, triggering an involuntary response in a completely different body, sitting alone. Provini also noticed something else. Blind participants, who couldn't see the video, still caught yawns just from listening to an audio recording of someone yawning, enough to set it off. That tells you contagious yawning isn't something layered on top of normal social behavior. It's wired in at a much more automatic level than most people assume, closer to a reflex than a choice. Researchers Ivan Norcia and Elisabetta Pelagi spent months observing bonobos in the wild. Bonobos caught yawns from close friends and family members far more often than from bonobos they barely knew. The same pattern shows up in wolves. The effect was strongest between wolves with the closest social bonds. Even dogs catch yawns from us. Dogs are catching a signal from an entirely different species. Here's the part that flips everything you probably assumed about yawning. Contagious yawning isn't really about tiredness spreading, and it isn't just a random reflex. It looks like a nonverbal empathy signal, without needing a single word. The stronger the emotional bond, the more likely the yawn spreads. Strangers barely trigger it. Close friends and family trigger it constantly. Which means every time you catch a yawn from someone, your brain isn't just reacting to a mouth opening. It's quietly registering how socially connected you feel to that person, and mirroring their state back to them. Now here's where researchers found something that made the empathy connection even stronger. Neuroscientists began looking at contagious yawning in people on the autism spectrum, since theory of mind can work differently in autistic individuals. A study led by Atsushi Sinja found that autistic children yawn contagiously far less often than neurotypical children. When watching videos of other people yawning, the social trigger wasn't landing the same way. When researchers explicitly told the children to watch the yawning person's mouth, the gap closed, whether attention was automatically drawn to another person's face and internal state in the first place. That single finding reframes the entire behavior, the same machinery lighting up when you catch their yawn. Which brings us back to you, sitting in that meeting. That colleague you barely know who yawns across the table, and you don't catch it? That's not rudeness. That's your brain correctly reading social distance. That friend who yawns on a video call, and you're yawning before the sentence finishes? That's not coincidence. That's an ancient synchronization system running quietly in the background of a relationship you already trust. Even reading about yawning can trigger one. You may already be fighting one right now. That's not a flaw in your attention. That's proof the system is working exactly the way it evolved to. For most of human history, groups that stayed synchronized survived better than groups that didn't, alert together or resting together instead of scattered and out of sync. Some researchers studying primate behavior have proposed exactly this. In baboon troops, yawning spikes during moments of tension or transition, like right before a group moves location, coordinating a group decision that no single animal was making alone. A silent signal that says, without a single word, I'm with you. I'm feeling what you're feeling. Let's move together. So here's the question we're sitting with. The next time you catch a yawn from someone, notice who it was. Was it a stranger? Or was it someone you're actually close to? Because that yawn might be one of the oldest, quietest ways your brain has of telling you exactly how connected you feel to the people around you. Long before language existed, this may have been one of the ways a group of humans knew they were still one group, still reading each other, still moving as one. Comment below, who do you catch yawns from the most? I genuinely want to know.